Nearly a week after Title 42 expired, illegal border crossings continue to plummet. Fox's Bill Malugin says officials are warning that the situation may not stay that way for long.
ICE smashed 350-plus member network in Houston. Illegal border crossers busted in massive 6-month operation.
This is a Fox News alert riding along with ICE agents during a week-long operation in Texas as they arrest hundreds. And they take some of the most dangerous criminal migrants off the streets, including a convicted murderer.
350 gang members operating freely in Houston, all of them illegal border crossers who thought America's 4th largest city was their personal criminal playground. But over the past 6 months, ICE has been systematically dismantling what federal agents are calling one of the most extensive gang networks ever discovered in Texas.
21 plus years for murder in Colombia. He was involved in a lot of organized crime in Colombia.
We're not talking about street-level dealers or petty criminals. These were organized networks with ties stretching back across the border, using Houston as their distribution hub for drugs, weapons, and human trafficking operations across the entire Southwest.
This is a week-long operation where we really flood the zone with additional resources from all these agencies and come together to try and make the biggest impact and get as many of these folks off the streets as we possibly can.
Federal agents didn't just stumble onto this. They methodically mapped every connection, tracked every operation, and then brought the hammer down in coordinated raids that shattered what these criminals thought was an untouchable empire. Stay locked in until the end, because what ICE discovered about how these networks infiltrated Houston will show you exactly why this takedown represents the biggest gang bust in Texas history and what it means for every American city dealing with organized criminal invasion. Before we continue, be sure to hit the subscribe button as it fuels the effort behind these videos. Let's break down how ICE built this case. Gang networks don't appear overnight, and they don't get dismantled by accident. Federal agents spent months identifying patterns that local law enforcement had missed. Illegal border crossers weren't just seeking work, they were establishing criminal operations. Houston, Texas just became ground zero for the most significant gang takedown in federal law enforcement history. And it didn't happen overnight. For 6 months, ICE agents methodically tracked, mapped, and dismantled what federal investigators are calling the most extensive criminal network of illegal border crossers ever discovered in American cities. The numbers are staggering. 356 gang members arrested across the Houston area in a coordinated operation spanning 6 months. Each of these individuals was not just an illegal border crosser. They were confirmed members of more than 40 different criminal gangs, including MS-13, Tren de Aragua, Latin Kings, Paisas, and Tango Blast. This wasn't random immigration enforcement. This was a strategic dismantling of organized criminal networks that had embedded themselves in America's 4th largest city. What makes this operation truly remarkable isn't just the number of arrests, it's the scale of criminal activity these gang members represent. Together, these 356 criminals had illegally crossed the U.S. border a staggering 1,434 times. They had accumulated 1,185 criminal convictions spanning everything from murder and child sexual assault to drug trafficking, weapons violations, and arson. ICE Houston Acting Field Office Director Gabriel Martinez didn't mince words when describing the significance of this operation. Despite attempts by some to undermine the courageous work being done by our officers, the brave men and women of ICE continue to put their lives on the line every day to arrest violent transnational gang members, foreign fugitives, and dangerous criminal aliens. The operation focused on what federal officials described as the worst of the worst, targeting criminal aliens who pose the greatest threat to public safety in Houston. This wasn't about random immigration enforcement. It was about removing dangerous gang members who had repeatedly demonstrated their willingness to victimize American communities. ICE didn't just track individual criminals. They mapped entire networks, recruitment pipelines from across the border, distribution territories within Houston, financial systems moving money back to criminal organizations, and coordination with established American criminal elements. Why Houston? Federal investigators discovered these networks chose America's 4th largest city specifically, major port access for smuggling operations, established immigrant communities for cover, transportation hubs connecting to major markets across the Southwest, energy industry providing cash-intensive businesses for money laundering. For 6 months, ICE agents conducted surveillance, financial analysis, and coordination with federal partners to build cases that would dismantle not just individual criminals, but entire criminal infrastructures. This wasn't arrest-focused. This was network-focused law enforcement. What ICE uncovered wasn't random criminal activity. These illegal border crossers had established sophisticated organizational structures, recruitment coordinators identifying prospects across the border, operational managers running Houston territories, financial specialists moving money and laundering proceeds. Think about this for a moment. While Houston families were building legitimate lives, illegal border crossers were building criminal empires just miles away. Drug distribution networks reaching across Texas, weapons trafficking operations supplying criminal organizations, human trafficking rings exploiting vulnerable individuals. Federal agents discovered these networks had divided Houston into operational territories. Each was controlled by illegal border crossers who recruited local accomplices, established distribution points, and coordinated with criminal organizations both domestically and internationally. The individual cases highlight the extraordinary scale of this criminal infiltration. One 20-year-old Paisas gang member, Luis Fernando Nava Garcia, had illegally entered the United States 40 times, more than twice his age. Another gang member, Javier Ivan Montoya Avila, had crossed illegally 26 times. The criminal histories of these gang members reveal the serious threat they pose to Houston communities. Milton Alexander Magana Fuentes, a Paisas gang member from El Salvador, was a convicted child predator with convictions for sexual indecency with a child and failure to register as a sex offender. Jose Angel Martinez had convictions for sexual indecency with a minor and aggravated assault of a family member. Other gang members arrested included individuals convicted of homicide, including Ronald Alberto Rivas Aguilar, an MS-13 member with a murder conviction. Luis Alberto Hernandez, a Latin Kings member, had convictions for domestic violence, aggravated assault, drug trafficking, unlawful possession of a firearm, and child abuse. The operation discovered gang members with extensive histories of driving while intoxicated, some with as many as 6 DWI convictions, representing a clear public safety threat to Houston residents. One Tango Blast member, Gerardo Ortega Contreras, had been convicted 5 times for resisting or evading arrest, 4 times for DWI, and 3 times each for obstructing investigations and burglary. ICE didn't conduct random raids. Federal agents coordinated with multiple agencies: DEA for drug trafficking elements, ATF for weapons violations, FBI for organized crime connections, and local law enforcement for operational support. When federal agencies coordinate like this, criminal networks have nowhere to hide. The arrests happened systematically over 6 months. ICE agents targeted leadership first, disrupting command structures. Then, operational managers, stopping active criminal activities. Finally, support networks, ensuring criminal infrastructure couldn't be rebuilt. Each arrest provided intelligence for additional operations, financial records revealing money flows, communication devices exposing network connections, safe houses containing drugs, weapons, and evidence of human trafficking. Every raid generated information for additional takedowns. ICE coordinated with federal prosecutors to ensure maximum penalties, immigration violations providing immediate detention authority, criminal charges carrying significant prison sentences, asset forfeiture targeting criminal proceeds. Deportation ensures these criminals can't return to American communities. Houston's gang network exposes a disturbing reality across America. Illegal border crossers aren't just seeking economic opportunities. Significant numbers are establishing criminal operations that exploit immigration enforcement failures to build permanent criminal infrastructure. The effectiveness of this operation becomes even more apparent when compared to previous enforcement efforts. In the first 6 months of the previous administration, ICE Houston arrested just 75 gang members, compared to the 356 arrests under the current administration. That represents a 375% increase in gang member arrests. For the entire year of 2021, ICE Houston arrested only 115 gang members, less than a third of what was accomplished in this 6-month operation. This case proves the direct connection between border security and community safety. Every illegal border crosser who becomes a gang member represents a failure of immigration control that communities across America pay for through increased crime, drug trafficking, and violence. Local law enforcement lacks the authority and resources to address criminal networks that cross jurisdictions and international borders. ICE's immigration enforcement powers, combined with federal investigative capabilities, provide the only effective response to organized criminal immigration. The 356 arrests in Houston represent 356 criminals who can no longer victimize American communities. Federal agents estimate these networks were responsible for significant portions of Houston's drug trafficking, weapons violations, and violent crime before ICE's systematic enforcement dismantled their operations. The operation also revealed how easily these criminals were able to re-enter the United States after deportation. Many of those arrested had been previously removed from the country multiple times, yet managed to return and resume their criminal activities. One individual had been deported 6 times, another 4 times, demonstrating the persistent threat these criminals pose. Gabriel Martinez, the acting field office director for ICE in Houston, highlighted the real human cost of these criminal networks. In just the past couple of years in Houston, transnational gang members were responsible for brutally raping and murdering an innocent 12-year-old girl on her way to the store. Our officers know their efforts can help prevent atrocities like that from ever occurring again, and they won't rest until they're all gone. The Houston operation proves that systematic immigration enforcement works. When ICE applies federal law methodically and consistently, criminal networks that exploit immigration failures get dismantled permanently. ICE sent a message to criminal organizations across the border. American cities are not safe havens for illegal border crossers who choose criminal enterprise over legitimate opportunities. Houston represents one victory in America's ongoing fight against criminal immigration. As ICE continues systematic enforcement operations, criminal networks lose the immigration enforcement failures they depend on to establish and maintain American operations. What happened in Houston provides a blueprint for every American city dealing with gang infiltration by illegal border crossers. Systematic enforcement, federal coordination, and sustained operations can dismantle criminal networks that local authorities couldn't even recognize as organized threats. The fight against criminal immigration requires Americans to support agencies like ICE that have the authority and capability to protect our communities from organized criminal networks. Every systematic enforcement operation like Houston makes American cities safer. The impact of this operation extends far beyond Houston. By targeting illegal border crossers who are confirmed gang members, ICE has disrupted criminal networks that had connections across the country. The drugs distributed by these gangs reached communities throughout Texas and beyond. The weapons trafficked by these criminal organizations fueled violence in multiple states. The human trafficking conducted by these networks victimized individuals from diverse regions. What's particularly significant about this operation is that it represents a shift from reactive to proactive law enforcement. Rather than responding to crimes after they occur, ICE systematically identified, tracked, and removed dangerous criminals before they could continue victimizing American communities. This preventative approach saves lives and prevents countless future crimes. For the citizens of Houston, this operation represents a significant improvement in public safety. Neighborhoods that had been infiltrated by gang activity can begin to recover. Families that lived in fear of criminal violence can feel more secure. Businesses that suffered from organized theft and extortion can operate freely. The removal of 356 dangerous criminals has a ripple effect that benefits the entire community. ICE's operation in Houston sends a clear message to criminal organizations everywhere. America's immigration system will not be exploited to facilitate organized crime. The days of using immigration failures as cover for criminal enterprises are coming to an end. Federal agents have the authority, capability, and determination to dismantle these networks wherever they operate. Do you support ICE's systematic takedown of criminal gang networks in American cities? Should federal authorities expand these operations to other metropolitan areas facing similar infiltration? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. For more breaking ICE operations, gang takedowns, and federal enforcement updates, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a story that exposes America's fight against criminal immigration.